I was called into the ministry quite a while before I admitted it, you know. And to tell you the truth about it, I finally wound up with an abscess on my lung and was headed for St. Louis to be operated on. And I promised the Lord then that I'd get rid of those cigarettes and I'd get my life ready and I would preach the gospel.
I was elected vice president in 1988. I served 6 years as vice president, and then I moved to, and in all I served 21 years.
Well, of course I was saved in the first church in West Plains at about 27, 28 years old. I was raised in Northeast Arkansas, wasn't raised in church, and Brother Dale Skiles was my pastor. And so then in 1972 I answered the call to preach. Brother Dale recommended Hillsdale, and I spent 4 years there.
I was saved in the Copper Mines Free Will Baptist Church near Fredericktown, and I began, announced my call to the ministry in 1951 and got my first license in 1953 and was ordained in 1956. And my first pastor was a little community church near Noblick, Missouri.
My wife and I both grew up in North Carolina, and it was never our intention to get out of North Carolina. We were going to pastor there. That's where our families were. And the Lord just strangely opened doors for us to go to Indianapolis and start a church there. And we had, our first son was 6 months old when we left North Carolina. And so even though we had good ministry, we always planned to go back to North Carolina. We ended up in Alabama, planned to go back to North Carolina, and then ended up in Missouri. And finally God just kind of nudged me and said, now if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to send you to California, and you really will be a long way away from home.
Started out of church one Sunday morning. Damon Dodd got my way out there, and I just had to tell him, Damon, I said, I think I've been called to preach. 70 years.
Well, the role that it's taken in my life, of course, it's through Free Will Baptist that I even got saved as a young boy. Prior to getting saved, I was a Free Will Baptist boy, even going to youth camp when some of the first years started.
I've been Free Will Baptist since I was 4 or 5 years old, and it has been my life. It's basically all that I've ever known. I love the Free Will Baptist, and I've met so many precious people through the denomination and through the different works, and it just holds a very special place in my heart.
There's others, you know, there's every officer that's ever served in any position has been just a real blessing, and women of God, women that had a vision to serve and to support missions and to further the ministry in Missouri.
That's what I told Larry one day. I said, you better let me get in that pulpit. I still got the itch.
Since 1978, I have pastored 2 churches in Missouri, and Missouri's been real good to me. They've given me an opportunity, of course, to pastor and an opportunity to work in the state.
The Lord's been good to me, and the Lord has blessed me, and I'll have to say it with all sincerity that I can't claim any responsibility for it at all. People have just been good to me and love me, and I've tried to love them back. And as my pastor's told me, and he's told different ones, and I just read recently in his obituary that his advice to young ministers was, you love your people and they will love you back.